Hello and welcome to Into the Light. I'm your host, Edina Mauvana. Today we have Jim Weaver. Jim is a certified Qigong instructor with over 25 years of personal practice in the healing arts. Jim offers classes and workshops in both Taoist and Buddhist styles of Qigong, guiding students to cultivate health, balance, and peace of mind. His passion for Qigong is deeply rooted in his lifelong journey of self-discovery and wellness, and his teachings empower others to take control of their well-being. I'm so excited to have you here, Jim. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Great to be here. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this. Yeah, it's great to be able to, educate people on what's available to them, what's out there. And I know there nowadays it can be confusing with everything that's out there, but to get a, more focused view of it.
Yeah, I love hearing about all the different healing arts and different modalities. And I know what I really liked about your background is that you incorporate different styles, like I mentioned the Taoist and the Buddhist styles. And I first heard about Qigong maybe a year or so ago, and I've seen the studios and people practicing. And I think it's just a great way to learn about how to tap into our maybe even our higher states of consciousness and healing through natural means. So I'm just curious to hear a little bit more about how you got into this work and why you're so passionate about it, because I see your posts on social media and you're clearly helping yourself and helping others with the work you do.
Absolutely. I used to teach yoga years ago when I was young. I got involved with meditation and yoga. I was living in Hawaii. I became a vegetarian at that point and was doing a lot of fasting and living off the land basically, and got back to a point where I realized there tends to be a lot of complexity that people get caught up in life, and they lose the simple sense of being in their bodies and being
Mhm.
connected with the earth and so forth. And it's very easy to get caught up in the madness of the rush of the rat race and so forth. And believe me, I've done it. I raised a couple of kids, worked full time, did all of that for many years, and still had the background because I went when I was 18 and just got away from civilization for a couple of years, lived in the jungle. And so I got a chance to get back to myself and experience a sense of well-being that wasn't based on really being dependent upon all these stimulating. There wasn't media at that point. There wasn't a lot of media at that point. There was television and so forth, but not like it is now, where the race for grabbing and keeping our attention involved all the time, all the time. So it's another layer of complexity in the modern age has been added to what's already a basic human
Yeah,
condition
we're all in overstimulation, instant
overstimulation.
gratification. Now.
And
30.
so it could be great for just simplifying, getting back to the simple connection with the energetic structure of the body and
Right.
how it operates if given a chance. And we tend to operate from here a lot with
Yeah.
this dialogue constantly going on and judgment thing going on all the time. And I try to get students to relax that a bit and just get back down into the body, into their breath, listen to their own heart, listen to their heartbeat, get a feeling for the blood and the energy moving through the body. And people can have some amazing experiences with that. Oh, wow, I never noticed that I'm holding myself like this all the time, or that I'm standing like this on one leg all the time. And that's why I'm having neck problems, and everything's connected. And so Qigong is one method. Yoga was great too. Don't get me wrong. I always recommend yoga. But when I met my Qigong teacher, the light bulb went on. It was like I found it to be, for me, a faster, less strenuous way of getting that energy flow in the body.
Yeah, faster and less strenuous. And I like how you mentioned about the importance, obviously, of quieting the mind, and like a lot of meditative practices are really fundamentally teaching that. And how you mentioned it's really creating a rooted practice with the earth, and also connecting everything with the different systems of the body. We have maybe you can talk about how it's like we have our different meridian systems and how it's, yeah, is it tapping into all of that network in order to really do the practice and then heal the things, like you said, that are maybe every day we're not even aware of, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Qigong can help with reawakening that awareness of areas that get left behind in the busyness of life and that are crying out for attention. Listen to me. This is what's going on. And so it's a way of listening to the body in a very natural way. And the communication is through chi or through energy. It's not a verbal communication. You can use verbal communication, but it basically is based on feeling. When you're feeling into it, and the feeling is the energy. You're feeling the energy of, like, for instance, in some Qigong schools, and there are hundreds of different schools and styles, and they'll approach all that in different ways. Some are more martial arts focused, so they'll build this internal energy to strengthen the body so it can take blows and so forth, or strengthen the grounding so you can't get knocked over. Tai Chi is based on that. So Tai Chi is similar,
Yeah.
has elements of Tai Chi, of Qigong in it. And Qigong has elements of Tai Chi in it. But Qigong is more based on healing and meditation directly, whereas Tai Chi is more based on form, structure. You can get in touch with the Chi with it. So they go together very well. But if you want to go straight for a healing, more holistic, direct way of connecting with your energy, Qigong is recommended. And we'll use like the 5 organ systems of the body. In Chinese medicine, they call it 5-phase medicine, where it's like you're using the organs as a way of allowing the energy to flow through the system in a harmonious fashion. So there's all these connections with different energy channels in the body, with the organs and so forth. So like medical Qigong, which is also what I integrate into my Taoist and Buddhist practices, can really focus on getting the organs back in harmony with the system. Because in the Taoist way of thinking, each organ has its own sense of awareness, or they call it a spirit in the organ, however you
Yeah.
want to describe it. And that we learn to communicate with them. And then we learn how to work as a team with the organs in the body. And what it does is allow that flow of that energy flow that's in harmony to return to the system. Because a lot of times we'll have an emotional outburst, we'll have trauma. That trauma can get locked up energetically in the organ system, and that works its way into the nervous system. And so we learn how to go in. For instance, you can go into the heart. You can go in and start to communicate directly with the spirit of the heart. And then that opens that line of communication. It'll let you know over time what it needs or what it doesn't need. And you'll get that gut intuition that, oh, maybe I shouldn't be eating this, or maybe I should stay out of this environment, or being around this people isn't healthy, or being with these people is good for me. But it comes as a gut reaction because we've lost touch with that wisdom of the body that the gut still holds. They're
Uh,
calling that the second brain now.
yeah,
So
the gut
really,
brain connection. We're really focused
exactly.
on
But
that in the
it has
healing.
all of its own neurons and
Right.
so forth. So it has its own sense of communication with the awareness. So when we learn to get back and listen to the gut, it's usually right. Like you get that gut feeling, oh, I got this gut feeling that this isn't right or this is right. And then
Yeah.
it usually ends up being right. And it's not talking to you like this, talking you in and out of this center has its own sense of strength and power, and we rely on it to stay alive. But we tend to emphasize this in this culture. It's we're way up here operating
Yeah.
all the time.
In the
So
logical side and in the, yeah, masculine even side,
that's
right?
it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we learn how to drop our mind, our awareness, and
Mm.
our energy back down and let it rest down in that connection with the earth and connection with the lower viscera of the body. They call it the lower dantian. It's an energy center in the body that tends to be like a battery in the system. And so that battery can get drained very easily. Gets drained through the senses, through a lot of talking, a lot of mental activity. It's like a gas burner and the gas is turned up here and it's going all the time. It's always active, it's burning. So tends to burn up the energy very quickly. So we want to learn to turn that gas down and just let the energy come back down and learn how to rest in just breathing. Get in touch with your breath. It's like it's what meditation is basically.
Yeah.
Quieting the mind, get in touch with the breath, allow the body to rest without having some goal, something to strive for, something to worry about, the anxiety, and just being present with it for a very short period of time. And if you do this daily, the chi will begin to be restored into the system. It will start to come back into the body again over time.
Yeah, I love how you connected it to the trauma healing or like regulating of our nervous system. We hear a lot about that. And so it seems like it's deeply rooted in that level of regulation and different mitigating different expressions of trauma that we might be expressing with being angry or being dysregulated, whatever that might be creating. And so it sounds like that very the yin and yang, the balanced state coming together as a
That's what
trauma
it's about.
healing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
balancing yin and yang, and the body contains all the polarities of yin and yang in it, on all the way down to the cellular level, like little batteries. And then you get all the positives and negatives in alignment, and you get that flow of chi flowing through the system, and then it starts to work more efficiently. And then what can begin to happen is you can connect with the environment, with the natural environment, because it has its yin and yang flow. And you start to work with the seasons. You start to work with the day, the change of day and night, because that's yin
Mm.
and yang flowing. And then that matches up with what's going on in the body. And soon you're bringing your body and energy into alignment with your environment. And so it becomes easier and easier over time to do that. You go outside, you're walking on the grass, maybe you might take your shoes off, which I always recommend whenever you can't touch
Yeah,
the
like
earth.
grounding your yeah, your energy with the
Touch
earth.
the earth,
Yes.
touch it, get back to the ground just for a few minutes. Take your
Yeah.
shoes off, sit by a tree, turn this down, and just be in your body breathing next to the tree. That's basically what Qigong is about.
Yeah.
And you can learn different methods for doing that. And I like to see what's going on for people. Where are you at? Where is your something that might need to be worked on or healed? And it really and learning and teach them to embrace the emotions, be in the emotion, accept it, go through it completely, because we tend to block things up here, talking ourselves in and out of things. This is right, this is wrong, this is what we shouldn't be feeling like this. So we try to turn it off. It gets locked in the body, and we have to deal with it one way or another at some point.
Yeah, it's like energetic blockages that are in different states or where. Yeah, and tell me a little bit about the role of the diet and nutrition, because I know you mentioned you went vegan and there's a big importance on the organs in our body and then our tastes with different types of like foods. And tell me a little bit about how that diet, and you touched on the gut health, really plays an important role and how it's like a
Absolutely.
holistic model in that way.
Yeah, the stomach, just to start as a starting point, one of the five organ part of the five organ system,
Yeah.
is central to all the other organs. Whatever you're putting in there and how often, it's related to Chinese medicine. Chinese medicine looks at when you eat, how hot is the food, how are you eating, what's the environment that you're in when you're eating, how often do you take in more flavors, are you just eating one thing all the time? More important than what exactly you're eating. That's important, don't get me wrong, I don't want to de-emphasize that, but all these other things come into play, and everybody's different. There's not a one size fits all. Everybody has a different metabolism. They have a different temperature setting, default setting. So there's different things to take into account. One of the basic things is humans are a warm blooded creature. We have to keep the body at a certain warmth level. So drinking cold drinks, which is endemic in our whole
Yeah,
culture, we
ice
go to
water. Yeah.
ice water. So that shuts down the digestive system. The digestive system has to work to warm itself back up. So there goes a lot of your energy into that. So that's one of the main things recommended. Don't drink a lot of cold things. Every once in a while, it's summertime, it's hot, a cold lemonade.
Yeah, yeah.
Live a little bit.
Yeah,
Enjoy
I'm with you. I
life.
like the temperature, room temperature serving
Yeah,
water at the restaurants
yeah.
in the White House.
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah.
And as for diet, it's a very personal thing. You've got to get a real diagnosis from, I recommend a real traditional Chinese medicine person to really diagnose what it is that's going on with their diet and what their body type is. because I can't say in general what might be good for somebody else in general. You could
Yeah.
need
Well, I've
more.
heard like Ayurveda is like that from the Indian
Yes.
cultures, right? Where
Yeah.
they have the different types of classification of body size. So yeah, I mean, I think that stemmed originally from the ancient Chinese medicine as well. I'm not too sure, but it's very much in alignment with the way
It
that
is.
that's practiced, right?
It is. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
much related. Yeah.
Yeah, and so tell me a little bit about you touched on the energy of the chi. I know that's pretty central and how that's also part of a spirit. Is that a part of a spiritual connection that we have with people have obviously I come from a Muslim background and we connect to God, we connect to whatever deities that people are practicing and incorporating into their spiritual levels. How is it that the chi is our connecting piece into the spirit realm or into that mastery of energy in that way?
That's a great question because what's interesting about Qi is it's based on the premise of there are three levels of being. This is one map. There are many different maps. There's Earth, like the physical realm. There's the realm in between heaven and earth. Heaven is the spiritual realm. So it's the endless eternal realm that is the background of everything. Heaven has never gone anywhere. It's always been there. But we are in a state of what they call post-heaven state. There was a pre-heaven state before the earth and matter separated from heaven, apparently. This is apparently what seems to have happened. We seem to be in a split state where heaven is out there and we're here, and the humans are in between heaven and earth. Energy is the communicative force that connects heaven and earth. So energy can transcend matter, and it can connect with the spiritual realm. That's what makes it very powerful. So you can use energetic practices to communicate with and reconnect, the Taoists call it, because we've always been connected with heaven.
Mm.
We apparently have lost our connection. And when you get that, you can get that connection back through using energy to do it, because you bring the material realm back into alignment, back into balance again. And that connection reopens up. As soon as we reach that pure balance state, the connection with where we originally were in the first place returns. So we're reconnected with heaven, is one way of describing it. I had one teacher tell me, you could take practice with Qi from just feeling better. You want to wake up and feel better every day. That's fantastic. Nothing wrong with that. A great place to be. That's as far as you want to take it. Perfect. Or you can take that train, you can ride it all the way up to full awakening and enlightenment or reconnection with God or whatever you choose to, however you want to label it in your own language, whatever that is, and that whatever that connection is, and take yourself all the way back to being reconnected with your original heavenly self, however you want, higher self, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. And
Yeah.
so that's the importance of Qi and what that is. It runs everything. Qi is in the background running everything. It's what allows everything to move and to live. With no Qi, no life. Of course, it's fluctuating all the time. Yin and yang is always in motion. That's just what gives it motion, is that the two polarities are not opposed, actually complementary. You can't have one without the other. So they're dependent on each other. You have one, you're going to have the other. That's just the way,
Mm.
that's how a battery works. No polarity, no energy charge.
Yeah, and it's like masculine and feminine polarity. It's all a balance between those energetic forces. And I love how you described it as a sort of a way of life, or it can be a very central piece to your practice, or it can be something that you just do casual basis. But it really sounds like for you, it's the way of life and it's your sort of centerpiece, right, of everything that you build around. And I'm just curious about the workshops that you do and the way in which you lead healing centers or schools and all of the different retreats you do. Tell me a little bit about the work that people are doing like on a one-to-one basis with you, because I know you also do in person as well as even remotely, right? On Zoom, people can start benefiting. So tell me a little bit about how that works for people who are maybe intimidated by the whole piece, but want to sort of get to know it a little bit better.
Yeah, I like to educate people about what they're getting into when they get involved. Just as an example, I was teaching at a spa, and we had a good group there for going for quite some time. I was able to take them through different levels. And I had each week, we kept going back to the same basic practices. And the owner came up, people are wondering why we're doing the same thing over and over again. I go, if they practiced at home every day a little bit, we might be able to move on to the next stage. But if until then, I can't change it up very much because it's like learning music. You got to get your scales down. You got to, if you're going to play music professionally, learn how to read music. When you get that down, then we'll get into the higher things. So it's a matter of starting with the foundation, just getting back to calming everything down, learning how to stand in such a way that your bones are aligned so that you can relax and yet be energized at the same time. Simple little things like making you aware of how you hold yourself when you're sitting, how you're standing, like you're standing in line at the store, how are you holding yourself? When you're holding a heavy weight, where is your weight centered when you're holding it? When you open a jar, are you trying to open that jar with the muscles up here, or are you bringing the energy down from way deep in the body to open the jar, connecting with the earth as a backdrop to push against? Different little types of awarenesses like that to start the process. Then we get into like some moving practices, breathing practices, and take them. And there's different levels of that, different forms that we can go through classically to get the chi flow through their system and start to feel that sense of how these energy centers, like in the hands, in the feet, top of the head, are all connecting and moving energy as a unit. And then that unifies the whole system over time. And
Yeah, I feel like it's describing when you're clearing out the water. Like sometimes you see people with the dirty water in the glass and you have to keep filling it or clearing off,
yes,
yeah, the dust from something. It's a process of cleansing that goes throughout.
absolutely. Cleansing and going back in Taoism, the Taoist has been described as a returning. We're returning to what we already are underneath everything, all the buildup of layers.
Yeah.
And so Taoism describes it as every day we get rid of a little more of what really isn't us, a
Mm.
little more. We release, we simplify, get back to the basics. And so it's not really adding more stuff on. We don't need to add more stuff on. We've got plenty. It's really shedding it and going back to that original spirit, energy, self that we always have been in the background that we tend to have left behind or forgotten.
Yeah, and it sounds like it gives people a lot of like you maybe vitality or balance, like you mentioned with what they're doing physically. So tell me about how the clients that you work with, what sort of energy or vitality are they achieving once they have a breakthrough with shedding away these layers of problems and things that are not our true authentic self?
Over time, like there's a lot of standing practice. We'll do a lot of standing, and the standing really strengthens the core of the body and the structure, how we hold ourselves. Like I said, getting that's one of the foundations. And some people could only stand for a few minutes, and I always have a chair next to them so they can take a break whenever they need to. A lot of sitting practices. But over time, over the weeks, they're standing longer and longer so that soon I've got people when they first came, they could barely stand for very long. They were having pain and really uncomfortable holding for the whole session over time. Sometimes there's things of holding our arms up in certain postures to facilitate the chi flow, and people can only go so far, and then over time they're noticing, whoa, okay, I'm going up all the way now. Just little micro changes over time. Some big changes where there'll be the light bulb will go off and it's, oh my God, I haven't connected with my body in so long in that loving, caring, honoring way. And they're crying and they're feeling their thing, what's going on in their body. It can be painful. Pains and old injuries can show up, but that means the awareness and the energy are connecting again, so you're aware of it. It's in things, those hidden things that you got to watch out for in the background. that we're not aware of. And then you can start to work on it, and it's a very gentle, it's not a no pain, no gain
It's not
type of
like
mind.
pushing the limits of your physical.
Not
Yeah.
really pushing hard.
Yeah. It's very
It's a
gentle.
soft, it's very soft.
Mhm.
It's like letting water flow over a rock, and over time that rock will dissolve. So the Tao is often described as water because water is the most humble of the elements. It seeks the lowest point. It's always seeking the lowest point, and yet can be very powerful over a long period of time. And if it's out of balance in a very destructive way, you can get a big wave can destroy a lot,
Yeah.
or a gentle stream can nourish an entire valley. It's that it is again back to that balance, using that flow to get back to that balance again.
Yeah, the power of the water and obviously all of the different earth, water, with different elements that are part of that process of connecting back into the earth and being rooted into our not only our own meridian systems of our body, but also what connects us most to the earth. And that's definitely water. We're mostly made of water, everything on the earth and everything. I really love that piece where it's feeling very connected to the source of water and connecting that to the spiritual realm. That's amazing. And so, how long do people tend to work with you, or what are the, like, I know you mentioned doing a little bit of practice every day. What do you recommend for people who are first coming to you? Like, how long should they be to do this practice, and what kind of results are you seeing when they're working with you for an extended period of time like that?
Yeah, it's really all over the board, technically. I'll get people that'll come in, they're excited, oh, I'm ready to go. And then they'll drop out after a couple of weeks because it takes some
They get
discipline.
bored.
Yeah, you can get bored. It's like
The mind
meditation.
is not there yet.
If
Yeah.
you've ever meditated, it's, oh my God, what am I doing here? I could be doing so much. The mind will talk you out of it. And
Mhm.
so that's normal. And so you get a lot of that. I'll have those few students that stick with me over the years. I've had them on and off come back to me because I'll give them practices they can do on their own. And if they can, and I'll notice real strong results if they're just doing a little bit regularly, because the gong in qigong implies something done over time. It's a cultivation. You're
Mhm.
cultivating the qi, you're the life force. And so it's an art. It's something that's developed over time. Some people will get immediate results and they'll be very excited about it and then get bored with it. As soon as something exciting doesn't happen again, they're out. And I try to warn them, don't get attached to these big firework displays of things. You see it, accept it, and then go back to yourself again, and just let all that be what it was. Now you're back to the practice, and if you just stay in that state, more things might show up. They might not. That's okay too. But over time, the only way I can guarantee any kind of effect, the only way I can guarantee is if they take it seriously and do regular practice every day, then they'll start noticing the more permanent results over time.
Y-
Not getting sick as often, that winter cold may stop showing up over
Uh-huh.
time. They can sleep better. They might be drawn towards eating more healthily. And that's when the system is communicating with them. You need to not eat that kind of stuff anymore. You need to do this. That's when the organs are saying, look, help us out here. Communicate with us.
Yeah, not so oils and fats and things that are blocking. Yeah, and it sounds like to me like you have a sort of, each person might need a customized plan or their
Yes.
own individual roadmap because we maybe they have an affliction in one area of the body. So you really work on a, like, customizing it person to person and the ways in which you're prescribing what they're doing, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I have some of that. Most of it is general preventive type of
Preventative.
in Chinese medicine, they say that's the greatest medicine is prevention. So
Nice.
it's really about if you can start to harmonize and rebalance, you won't have to treat something later, daily. And so yeah, there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of one-on-one. And that's really, I really enjoy that when somebody can share what's going on, and there's so many alternative ways of dealing with things. And in the West, the mechanical system, the body as a machine is the model. You take a part, you replace the part, you cut it out if it's bad. In the ancient Chinese, we're more like a plant. You
Mhm.
cultivate it. You might prune something, but you keep the root, you keep it rooted, you water it, give it enough sunlight, enough balance. You can regrow the system again and bring it back into harmony again. And so it's a different model in getting people used to that idea and learning how to love and honor. And the body is amazing. It's amazing, miraculous thing that has its own wisdom if we just allow it to do what it does naturally. It can do so many things.
Yeah, we really are the greatest technology in the universe with our physical ability and our biological technology that we are gifted with. And yeah, it's so important. And we see so many people are moving away from, yeah, like you mentioned, the Western model of one piece here. It's really important to have that holistic approach in order to get any kind of successful, overall healing and to continue into longevity and
Yeah,
or
ideally.
rejuvenation or
Yeah,
yeah, all of those techniques are becoming more and more top of mind for people these days. I think everyone's realizing that as we're yeah, increasing our conscious awareness of these problems and where they stem from,
absolutely.
the root causes, right?
Yes, yes. And Western medicine and its style of medicine has its place.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think there's a lot of advancements that are amazing, some amazing things. I think working together in tandem with the original medicine is really the best way to go about it nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is great. We covered a lot of areas, why it's important, the holistic approach, different ways in which the energy is understood, and even how it's a universal concept in a lot of ways. It's not just specific to ancient Chinese, but that it's really about all of us. Any person can tune in and start to adopt these practices in their daily life and start to create that awareness. It's really important. So where can people find you who are maybe interested in attending a workshop or starting to get introduced? And I know you have some things on Zoom available and you're also local here in the Bay Area, right? So where's the
Yes.
best place people can find you if they're interested in learning more?
Well, they can email me, which is really the most direct way,
Yeah.
at weaverjim9, that's the number 9, at gmail.com.
Okay.
That's one way. I have a couple of Facebook pages, Jim Weaver, and there's a number after it. I can't remember what.
That's okay. We're going to link it at the bottom. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Facebook group.
And there's Qigong Weaver, which is another Facebook page.
Uh-huh.
Qigong Weaver. That's the name of my company, basically, my school. And I have a website that's currently being revamped. And it's Qigong Weaver, one word, small letters, US. But I'm having it upgraded to qigongweaver.com.
Yeah. Okay.
So
You got the
that's
domain.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's being upgraded at this.
Yeah.
So
Great. Great.
there's that. And so basically, yeah, my email, my phone number, you can call me anytime. Also, 831-421-1967.
Okay,
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, let's get some people in touch with you then. And I know we've been talking for a little while, but there's a lot more we could cover with everything about our existence and why we're doing this work on a spiritual level. I love these types of conversations, and hopefully we can get into a deeper session sometime, Jim.
Sure.
But for now, any
Perfect.
final thoughts or words of wisdom you'd like to share with people before we wrap up?
No, I appreciate you doing this and sharing this. I think if more people know there's so much information. We've got information overload these
Yeah.
days. I understand that, and people don't even know where to start. And there's so much offered. And with these kinds of things, it's important to know what you're getting involved in. Where there's a
Mhm.
level of dedication in Qigong that some people don't realize. They think it's like an exercise class. You go, you exercise, you feel better. Oh, maybe I'll go back next week. Maybe I won't. It's not really based on that type of model. It's more of a slow and steady over the long haul, ideally, if you can. So it's great that people are learning about this and different ways of different modalities that are really could be quite simple and not you don't have to. It's not really you don't have to sweat so much to learn it. Sweating's good. I'm not saying don't sweat, but just in that sense of how easy some modalities can be that can really change everything. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Like
really
you said,
cool.
it's more of a gentle approach. And that's so great for a lot of people, especially as we're aging in communities
Yeah,
of we're not trying to like work our muscles harder and harder, like you said, running that treadmill or running up the mountains every day. If we can avoid
Yeah.
it, we can come to a more balanced and healed state potentially with a daily smaller doses and in a
Yes.
longer period of time and healthy.
Softer approach. Yeah, yeah.
Softer approach.
And I'd
Yeah.
love to talk about sometime how the studies are finding that your people are getting cardiovascular effects, health effects through these stillness practices of Qigong. And it's like they
Mhm.
can't figure it out.
Like it's not cardio, it's giving
Yes.
you,
They're like, how are they getting heart healthy and these their
oh,
arteries and veins being improved? How is that possible without all of this hard work?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
I
saying
really
don't do it.
resonate with that.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying no, keep up. You're exercising, awesome. Keep going.
Yeah, but that stillness and coming into a state where you're more, you're not, some people put so much pressure on themselves. I got to work out every day. And if I don't, I'm not
Yes.
going to be healthy. And I think there's a lot of being able to not have, that's just causing more stress than
More
maybe it's
stress.
providing
Yeah.
benefit.
Yeah.
Go.
That's our yang culture. We live in a yang culture.
Yeah.
Got to gain more, collect more. You got to be bigger. You got to be more famous. You got to make more
Yeah.
money. It's the rat race on and on. And it's
Yeah.
okay. Turn everything off. Sit in the dark for a while.
Yeah.
Take your shoes off. Walk on the
Right.
grass. Breathe a little bit. Just a
Yeah.
little
Like
bit.
sensory deprivation a little bit because we're over
Yes.
sensory overload, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that, Jim. Thank you so much. And I hope we can have you again in the future, talk more about Qigong and all the different. I know you have a lot of different styles and many years of practice behind you. Thank you so much for the work you do. And I'm just so happy we can spread the word and get more awareness about all of that. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And I look forward to talking to you again. Yeah, anytime.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Enjoy.